Big news, if you're coming to Vietnam anytime soon, there's a brand new website you'll need to use to get your tourist e-visa. So starting today, November 11th, 2024, you can only use the new website. My name is Travis. I've lived in Vietnam almost 6 years, so I know a thing or two about the visa process. Let's walk through the new website together. I'll tell you everything you need to know and answer all of your questions. If you're having any issues at any point, send me a message. I'll help sort you out with your visa. Let's get into it. Okay, so if we go into Google and we type in Vietnam visa, this first website that shows up is going to be the old website. If it looks like this is the old website. And you can see here, it says that it will operate on 2 new domains. There's a Vietnamese version and an English version. It's both the exact same site. So we're going to click on this one. So the new website, everything will be linked in the description. It's Evisa.gov.vn. So we're already off to a good start. It's a much better name. It should be easy to remember. When we get here, it already looks a lot better. In case you've already applied on the old website and it's still in processing, that should be fine. That website is going to keep processing those older visas. But anyone starting a new visa as of today should use this new website. A couple things that they have new right away. They have some instructions here that'll break down exactly what you need to do, and also some frequently asked questions, which should be really helpful. So just to go back from the beginning, general information here. A Vietnam visa is a travel document that you need to enter Vietnam. It's valid for a maximum of 90 days. Single or multiple entry. I'll talk a little more about that later. The e-visa fee is paid right on this website. It'll be $25 US for a single entry, $50 for multiple entry. Multiple entry is if you plan on entering Vietnam, then leaving again and entering Vietnam again multiple times within 90 days. So maybe you're going to come to Vietnam for a couple weeks, and then you want to go to Thailand for a week, and then you want to come back into Vietnam. You can apply for a multiple entry visa. There's a full list here of exempt from e-visa. If you are from America, Canada, Mexico, India, Australia, New Zealand, all of these places, we need an e-visa. So you're going to go ahead and apply for your e-visa here. There's a list of border gates for airports and land borders in case you're coming from China or Laos and you're not sure if you can cross a border. Not every land border will allow you to come in with a tourist visa. So you have to double check the list of border gates in case you're planning on doing that. Okay, let's click on apply now. Some instructions here, real basic. Again, here's all your border gates. We're gonna go all the way down. We're gonna confirm. So everything already is so much smoother. Looks good here. So some of the big new changes for the website is that they do a much better job of describing what they're asking for in each field. So there shouldn't be so much confusion like there has been in the past. So the biggest problem for many people with denials was based around the portrait photo or your passport data page here. So it'll tell you the portrait should be a newly taken photo, 4 by 6 centimeters, JPEG format, less than 4 megabytes. Let me show you an example here. I just did this now. I took a selfie on my phone, just with a white wall behind me, and it's going to enter in that. I didn't have to convert anything. If you're having any troubles, you can download a passport photo app on your phone, but I just did this with my phone selfie, email it to me, and the color is kind of shit, but this is what it should look like. You want a little bit of your shoulders. You want your whole head in here. Straight face means no smiling. No hat, no glasses, clothes, any type of clothes is okay. White background. Your passport data page. So you just want this page of the information. It's really important that you have these numbers and your name section. That's called the ICAO line. That has to be clearly visible. Everything has to be very clearly visible, or you're going to get a rejection and asked to fix that picture. Okay, when we go to personal information here, they've broken it down. It used to say given name and surname, which confused a lot of people because in America, for example, we have a first and a middle name and we have a last name. So sometimes it was confusing for people. Given name, surname, what does that even mean? So your first name is your middle and given name. Okay, so my name is Travis Sean Carrasquillo. I don't know why it says middle and given name. You should put your first name and then your middle name. So I would put Travis Sean and then Carrasquillo. Be careful when you're auto-filling something like this. For example, it won't put it in. So you should fill in everything directly. So I would put like this, Travis Sean Carrasquillo. There's some people, I think some Indian people will only have 2 given names and no surname. There's a few people that messaged me about this. So I checked with the visa agent. He says you should put both names in the surname box and nothing in the given name box. So that's a tricky one. I don't know. Date of birth. Again, notice they do days first and then the months and then the years. So reverse of how we would do it in America. Full date. I don't know why you would only know the year of your date of birth. Sex. Your nationality. Your identity card number is going to be your passport number, not your driver's license in your home country, nothing like that. Use your passport number here. You're going to put in your email address. Make sure that you have checked this box. Agree to create an account by email. That's how they're going to send you the updates, your registration code. That's how you're going to check on the status, and that's where you'll get the visa eventually. Religion. Notice that this is a required box. So you can put in whatever you want. If you want to put in Christian, Muslim, if you want to put in none, that's fine. Just fill something in here. Place of birth. That will be, I would put your city and your country. Re-enter email. Have you ever used any other passports to enter into Vietnam? If you entered Vietnam 10 years ago on an old passport and you don't have the number, that's okay. This is only for recent enters. Some people, for example, have a UK passport and an Irish passport, and for some reason they might have used both of them. So don't worry about this if it was way in the past that you used an old passport and you don't remember the number anymore. That's okay. Do you have multiple nationalities? Violation of any laws? Hopefully no. Here you're going to select either a single entry or a multiple entry. For most people, you only need a single entry unless you already have your trip planned. Like I said, if you're going to bounce around to other countries and you know for sure that you're going to come back to Vietnam, then you can apply for multiple entry. Grant e-visa valid from. You can choose a 90-day period. If you're coming for a month, you can still choose a 2-month period, for example, and give yourself extra time on either side of the actual dates that you know that you're coming. So you're going to select a period and they're going to approve you for that 90-day period. You're allowed to enter anytime after the date that they approved, and you can leave anytime before the end date that they approved. Let's say you apply for a 3-month visa, but you enter the country a month after the initial date that was on the visa. That means you would have 2 months left on the visa. It doesn't start from the day that you arrive. You will get approved for a select period of dates. You can enter anytime after that, leave anytime before that. Passport number. For some reason, this box here does not have the red star required, but write in issuing authority, place of issue. So write in the country of your passport. Type, most people are going to be ordinary passport. Date of issue for your passport, expiration date for your passport. Contact information, so your permanent residential address. I would suggest using a permanent resident address that matches your passport. Okay, so some people are living in a different foreign country than their original passport, and they're not sure if I should use my home country or if I should use the place where I'm living right now. I would suggest using your home address that matches where your passport is from. Address, telephone number, emergency contact, okay? Occupation. None of these boxes are required. Here's the deal. A lot of people from Middle Eastern countries, African countries are getting many rejections. It's not fair. They're not doing anything wrong. For some reason, it's harder for them to get their visas approved. So they'll get many emails saying, hey, you've got to fill in this information, you got to refill this information. If you're from one of those countries, make sure you fill out every possible box no matter what. So putting your occupation, your info, all this stuff, just do the best you can, put some information in there. Purpose of entry is going to be tourism. So scroll down, find tourism, great. Intended date of entry. So here, again, if you know that you're only in Vietnam for a month, but you applied for that bigger period, that's okay. You can apply for a 3-month period and then put your actual intended date of entry here. It's possible that they'll only approve the visa from your intended date of entry. Sometimes they'll give you the whole period. Sometimes they'll start the period on your intended date of entry. Intended length of stay in Vietnam. Again, even if I know that I'm coming to Vietnam for 10 days, I would say, personally, I'm staying for 30 days. Just because I want to make sure that they're going to give me some extra time, and you're paying for 90 days. You should try to get as much of that time as possible. Because things happen, your flight gets delayed by a day or two, or something happens on the back end, and just being off on a day can cause you to change flights, cause you extra money. So try to get extra time on both ends of your stay. Phone number in Vietnam, very important. It's not required box here, but you should fill in the phone number of the hotel, the first hotel that you have booked when you arrive. Look up their website or look them up on Google Maps, find their phone number, and then you're going to put in that address, the address of the first hotel, Airbnb, whatever it is. You're going to put that address here, right? So let's say I'm staying at the Saha Casa Hotel in Da Nang. I'm going to type in Saha Casa here. You're going to find Da Nang. Now, when you look at I'll show you here. If we look on Google Maps, because the addresses are a little tricky in Vietnam, they break it down into districts and wards. Let's say I look up Saha Casa on Google Maps here. Okay, I'm going to find, see, so 10 Morrison, that's the street name. An Hai is the ward. Sun Cha is the district. Da Nang is the city. And sometimes these will be in different orders, but it's okay because the boxes will fill out for you. So I know that it's Saha Casa. I know it's in Da Nang City. So when you put district, it'll pull up all these districts, and then you can find the one that matches your address. Sun Cha, and then we've got An Hai here. Okay, perfect. Intended border gate of entry. For airports, this is not 100% required. So if you write here that you're coming into Hanoi Airport and it gets approved, but later your flight gets changed and you're coming into Da Nang Airport, that's going to be okay. It could be an issue if you choose an airport and then you decide to come by land border, right? So if your plans change for some reason and you're coming in by land border, I would try to get a new visa that lists the land border as the gate of entry. Again, for airports, it's not important if you change from one airport to a different airport. Intended border gate of exit, do your best, but again, this is not important. You can leave at any border gate. Check this box here. This is to declare temporary residence. If you're staying for a few months, for example, and you're going to rent an apartment, you'd have to declare temporary residence. That's a different story. Okay, same deal that I talked about for African countries, Middle Eastern countries. Agency, organization, tour. I would say that you're using a tour, and find some tour company, find their information, and use all that information there. If you're having any problems at any point during this process, send me a message. I'll do my best to help you out. Have you been to Vietnam in the last year? If you have, then you'll have to put in the dates. This is another update. It used to say, have you ever been to Vietnam? And people were like, I was there in 1998. Do I have to put the dates in? So this is in the last year only. Do you have any relatives that reside in Vietnam? Probably not. Accompany children. Okay. Most countries in the world will give passports to children. For any children that have their own passport, you have to do this entire process. You have to fill out a separate application for each child. Even a baby, a 6-month-old baby can get an American passport, for example. You have to fill out a visa application for that baby. There are some countries that will list the children and the adult's passport officially, if that's the case. But I think for most people, fill out all the visas individually. Trip expenses, insurance. Okay, again, these boxes are not required, but you should definitely fill them out. So your intended expenses in USD, put a couple $1,000s, write in $3,000 if you're here for a couple weeks or a month. That should be fine. Okay, in the past, did you buy insurance? They will not check for proof of insurance. And in the past, I would have said, just write in travel insurance. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. But again, when you declare this statement here that you're being truthful and honest about everything, I thought about if you were to lie and say you had travel insurance and then you have some kind of accident, you're already going to be in big trouble, but you could be in further legal trouble by lying. Point of the story, get travel insurance. It costs $40, $50, something like that for a month. I'll have some options linked below so you can check it out. You'll feel better about it. Get some travel insurance. Who will cover the trip expenses? Personal. Okay. So that's going through everything. Now, I didn't actually fill this out because I'm still in Vietnam right now. I'm leaving next week to do a visa run. And I can't apply for my visa until I've left the country. So probably next week I'll do another video where I'm actually going through the application myself and paying and everything. But your next form, you're going to have to review everything. So double check, triple check everything, and then you'll get to the payment stage. With the old website, it would only accept Visa credit cards, not MasterCard and not Visa debit cards. So if you're having trouble with the payment, make sure that you're using a Visa card. Also, if the payment doesn't go through, try using a different browser. So I'm actually using Brave right now. Chrome is probably the best one. I know for sure that people have had problems with Safari. So if something's going wrong, try changing the browser that you're using. And when you make your payment, you should, within a couple hours, get an email that says you've paid and now the visa is in processing. There's been a lot of situations where somebody paid, but it didn't go through on their bank's end. So then the visa processing never started. So then they check back a week later and go, oh shoot, and that it never actually started. I have to start all over from scratch. Okay, if you're having an emergency and you need help with a visa agent, I've got a guy does the cheapest price in Vietnam. Send me a message. If you're having any problems at all, send me a message. I've got a travel group that I'll link down with tons of information. If you're coming to Vietnam, it's going to help with your trip. Join my travel group. Let me know if you need any help. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Peace.